Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Brett. In my hands is The Man in the Painter's Room by Jamison Odone. It's about Vincent Van Gogh's, pretty much it's like his end of life. Kind of a very interesting graphic novel published by Black Panel Press. It's not a publisher I know a ton of, so they reached out and sent me this review copy, and I'm really kind of happy they did. So I don't know tons about Vincent Van Gogh. You know, I've seen his paintings, and I think his paintings are absolutely beautiful. But really, you know, his life beyond cutting off his ear, like, that's about what I got. So it was really interesting when this graphic novel came in front of me to check it out, because I was hoping to learn a bunch about the painter, and I did. I'm really happy that this has been published, and you know, I was able to check it out and read myself. So this. I kind of want to set this up. So I expect this to be like a full graphic novel and story about Vince Van Gogh and his life. It's not. It's really one snippet of his life. So to not mess things up. So this is about his post-release from the St. Paul Asylum in 1890, where he wound up going to the Auberge Ravoux. It's a quaint little inn in Auberge. I don't speak French, so sorry. So he still had a lot of issues with mental illness, and then there he found some peace and somewhat quiet, and produced 75 works of art. So the graphic novel by Odone is based on the first-hand account of Adeline Ravous, who's the innkeeper's daughter, and then who she and Vincent had like a really nice bond, and he seemed to really kind of care about her and the family as a whole. So this is really the end of Vincent Van Gogh's life, post-asylum stint, which I had no idea about. And it's really an interesting story about a guy who, really, not story because it's true life, but like it's an interesting graphic novel focused on a man who suffers from mental illness, and couldn't find peace within himself, but was still able to create such beauty. Like he himself internally was filled with darkness and turmoil and so many issues, but he was still in his creations. And it says in the graphic novel, and I'm kind of cribbing what it says, and I really like it. It was still able to create such a light. And I think that's really poetic and really nice. And the graphic novel, I think, really kind of emphasizes that. This is a guy who was unsettled. He was trying to find peace, and had found it here and there, but he always was being stalked by his mental illness and the things that brought with it, the negativity that it brought with it. You know, obviously we know about him cutting off his ear, but you know, he hurt himself. He wound up killing himself, or he tried to kill himself, and then died of his wounds. And it was because things kind of caught up with him. So it's a really interesting. I think it's a really interesting graphic novel. And now, you know, one, it is very honest about his end of life and you know, his issues they had, and it's not really about the paintings. It's not sitting there like, oh, he created this and this and this and this and this. It's about his relationships and how he saw what was going on with him. A lot of the graphic novel comes from letters that he wrote to his brother Theo, and letters to his sister and mother about his time at this inn. So I think it's really kind of fascinating look at the end of his life and how he saw things were going on, and of course we know how things ended. So, you know, it kind of throws up there of like, you know, is this really how he felt, or was he putting on a good face and trying to make people think that he was doing better than he really was? It's just really fascinating. And then through it all, he was doing amazing work. He was struggling to find the beauty in the world, or not really struggling. He saw the beauty in the world. And he created it in his paintings and captured it in his paintings while struggling with such darkness and pain within. And I think that's what's really interesting about the graphic novel. It's not something I really knew about. Like, I knew he cut off his ear, but I didn't know about the mental illness. I didn't know about the suicide. I didn't know what any of that was about. So, you know, this really kind of, to me, brought together all of these things that were going on in his life, and makes me appreciate his work even more. Like, you know, I can now understand, looking at his paintings, that, you know, this is a person who was struggling and he still created such beauty. Not that, you know, people struggling can't, but, you know, it's hard to see, the light when you are struggling with darkness. The fact that there was such kind of this diametric opposition of him, what he produced wasn't what he was feeling, to me is really interesting and fascinating. That you almost wonder if he looked towards those things and fought to see the light and see the beauty of things around him because of how he was feeling internally. I think that would be it's a really interesting question that I kind of had coming out of this. And the art for this it's really cool. I love the style of this art. It starts off with a really interesting kind of like him spiraling out into his madness. You can just see this work. Like it's really pretty, really beautiful. I like it. I like this a lot. It's pretty cool work overall. Showing off a bit here to kind of get you an idea. So yeah, like this is a fast. There's actually one thing of Starry Night that I really want to show off if I can find it. Yeah, like I think this is just beautiful to look at. Really cool use of his famous work in the comic itself. So I really like this. Like, if you don't know the story about Vincent Van Gogh, if you don't know how he ended his life, just want to learn a little bit more about him, to me this was great. I don't necessarily want to go and learn his entire life, which is kind of what I thought this was, but this is going to make me appreciate his art more when I see it and going to museums. So for that, I think it's really, really cool, and it makes me want to learn more. Not that I'm going to, just because I don't have time. But when I go to art museums, I definitely will pay a little bit more attention to what it might say around him. And I'll be more paying attention to when the paintings were done, because if it's post-1890, it was probably done during his time in this day. So, stay at this inn. So I really dig it. I like it a lot. So now you can go get it. We've got some links underneath this video where you can purchase it. They're going to be affiliate links, so we get a small percentage of that. By doing that, you help support our site. So thank you for that. I also want to thank Black Panel Press, who hooked us up with this. This is actually a really cool graphic novel. They got some really interesting stuff going on. Kickstarter ends in like 2 or 3 days from this video. When this gets posted, you should go check it out. And they do some really interesting graphic novel work. I would definitely want to check them out more and read more of their stuff, especially if it's this quality. I think it's just a really cool small press graphic novel publisher. So again, thank them for hooking us up with that, and thank you for watching. Now, if you're into graphic novels, if you're into comics in general, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. So until next time, keep reading those comics and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.